Hey gang, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Andrew Wolfe and I'm here to talk to you about beautiful Boulder, Colorado, and specifically how to live here affordably. How can we live on Boulder on a budget, not break the bank, but get the lifestyle of it? All right, so let's just kind of out with it here, guys. Boulder's expensive. It's not a cheap place to live. It's one of the most expensive places in Colorado, and Colorado is one of the more expensive places in the country. So it's certainly not going to be super cheap, but you certainly can do it within a budget. And there's a reason why people choose it, right? So people tend to buy in Boulder not for price necessarily, but for value. And that's an important distinction we're going to get into a little bit later in this video. But when you're thinking about Boulder, it's a lifestyle decision and it's a value over cost decision. And beyond just kind of the value versus cost decision, when you think about the lifestyle choices you're going to make when you're living in Boulder, getting access to the beautiful, beautiful outdoors, the awesome culture, the great people, having the university nearby, being able to get to Denver in like 15 to 30 minutes. There's a lot going on in Boulder, more than just meets the eye, especially when you factor in beyond the dollars next to your home. And where you start in Boulder from a buyer perspective often isn't where you finish, right? So I don't think people need to look at moving to Boulder from wherever you're at in this beautiful country of ours, or this great big world, as trying to find your perfect home, your dream home right away. Baby steps, man. We can work through looking at a smaller home or even a townhouse or a condo, even looking beyond Boulder proper, looking at some of the great nearby cities like Gun Barrel and Louisville and Lafayette and Longmont that are going to have access to the Boulder lifestyle, still have great access to Denver, but maybe not quite have that, beautiful mansion Boulder price tag attached to it. So it's about being a strategic person, being able to narrow down the process and have the long-term goals in mind. Because not only can you upgrade your home as you go through things, but when you buy into Boulder, you're also buying into one of the most stable and honestly one of the most quickly appreciating markets in the country. So even though we've seen some volatility and some up and down here in Colorado and nationwide really coming out of COVID, some markets have flattened out. Unfortunately, some markets have seen some dips. Boulder's been pretty steady. While they haven't seen, rocket speed evaluation and pricing they've seen previously, they have seen things continue to move forward at a reasonable pace, getting, 2 to 5% a year, depending on the type of home and where in Boulder we're purchasing. But you're still seeing equity growth in a time when a lot of people are seeing it flatten, or maybe even, unfortunately, some of us seeing it dip down. So there's a really great opportunity to have long-term return here. And like we talked about, build your way up. Move from a condo, live in there for a couple of years, strategically sell it and purchase a townhouse, live in there for a couple of years, and before you know it, you're into your dream home, having the perfect situation for you and your family or your friends, whomever you're choosing to live with, in Boulder in just a matter of years. So having a good strategy going into it is a great way to make sure the value is lining up with their lifestyle and you're getting the Boulder life that you want to have by moving. Even taking a brief step back here, renting is often a great way to kind of access this market. So I'm a residential realtor. I'm here to kind of help you guys find the home that works for you and make sure that your needs are meeting your lifestyle. But I've also helped plenty of people rent. And so if you're unsure about Boulder as a long-term fit, or if you really want to make sure you have access to a particular location in Boulder, we can find you a rental that works, and making sure we're budgeting in the way for you to still advance that and get into the home that you want to have in the coming years. But let's not sacrifice our lifestyle when there's a way to work through it and make sure that we can match the lifestyle we want with the financial situation that we have. And just build for the future, guys. We all want to have a long-term plan to how to make Boulder work for you. And while we're on the subject of creativity, there's lots of cool ways to leverage your position in the market right now. House hacking is a great option. Maybe you look at, buying into a duplex situation or a triplex situation, renting out one of the other units. Maybe you have a home that has a separate entrance for the basement and the main level, so you can have separate roommates or another investor that way. That is going to help curb your monthly cost on that. So there's lots of creative ways we can get into that are going to be able to help finance your ability to live in Boulder. And that's without even talking to the investors out there that have great loan programs that are worth considering. The DSCR programs we're seeing emerge right now are between DSCR programs and bank statement loans. We're seeing about a third of the market being some of these alternative loan programs. And I have a great lender I can connect with out here that can walk through those options and see if they might be good fits. Long-term planning and creativity are a great way to overcome some of these humps that make Boulder a much more approachable value proposition than you might have thought just by looking at the price. And another thing to consider is some of the other cost savings you might have by living in a great place like Boulder. Transportation is one thing. A lot of Boulder is really easy to get around using public transit or biking or walking, or the city itself is actually relatively short from a drive perspective. So there's not these big, crazy long, hour-long commutes like you might see in a larger city. If you are commuting to Denver, hey, that's something we got to deal with, where we can look at alternative ways like the train to be able to get back and forth. But if you're living and working in Boulder, Or with Boulder, you're going to open up a ton of remote work possibilities too. There's a great, strong remote working force here. It's going to save you money. It's going to save you, wear and tear on your car. It's going to save you time. It's going to put time back in your pocket, and that's something you really can't put a price on. They're not making more of. And additionally, from a lifestyle perspective, you live outside the four walls of your home here in Boulder very, very often. So people have lovely homes here. People are able to kind of have great times inside their house, but people move to Boulder for the hiking and the biking, the walking, the entertainment, go to Pearl Street and see some buskers, be able to catch a show at the Boulder Theater or some of the great offered at the University of Colorado. So you're going to be able to save money in other ways. And a lot of the entertainment is darn free in Boulder because, hey, nature's free. Go out and take a walk, touch grass, as the internet says, or as my kids tell me the internet says these days. But regardless, guys, there's lots of great opportunities to enjoy Boulder without spending more money that you might have to spend if you were in a larger city or had a more, urban lifestyle experience where everything costs money. So take advantage of Boulder and what is offered here outside of your four walls. That's a great way to make that value proposition increase, and they can balance out some of the higher price tags you might see on the home itself. So like we talked about, guys, it's really about, not just being a Boulder, guys, but as a realtor who's been doing this for 10 years, every home should be thought about as a value proposition. Price tag is one thing that's an important consideration because at the end of the day, if you're using a loan, the bank's going to want their money, and we obviously want to see you have a return. But how we measure that return is the lifestyle and the value that's provided to us as individuals and to our families and to our friends who are able to come enjoy the experience of living, in this case, Boulder. But let's have a value proposition conversation. And that requires thinking long-term. That requires thinking alternatively beyond just the price of the home, and making sure we have a plan in place to line up your lifestyle with your budget. So all that being said, the people who really enjoy living in Boulder and making this big move factor in more than just their payment. They factor in their lifestyle. They're the kind of people who love outdoor activities. They're the kind of people who love being a part of the community. They're the kind of people that enjoy being close to a bigger city, but not living right in it and having a tight-knit community. And if you like really taking advantage of the lifestyle in your community outside of your four walls, Boulder is going to be a great, great value proposition for you. And that's without even talking about the long-term investment opportunity, the long-term growth and equity acquisition. So if you want to have more of a conversation with this, guys, I think Boulder is a great investment. And most important, I think it's a great lifestyle choice for a lot of folks out there that see it as a community here. I would love to have a conversation with you. So go ahead and reach out, call, text, email, whatever. I love connecting with you guys one-on-one. For more comfortable talking online, go ahead and leave a comment below and I'll go ahead and reach out to you that way as well. Again, this is Andrew Wolfe. Love connecting with all you guys. Love making these videos. I'm looking forward to connecting more one-on-one. See you guys again next time. Have a good day.